It was a cold, gray morning when Miss Joy knocked on the big front door of the Carter mansion. The house stood tall and quiet like it had a secret to keep. Inside, behind wide glass windows, cameras watched every move. But still, no one opened the door. Miss Joy waited. She stood straight in her long red coat, her hands holding a worn brown bag. Her hair was pulled back into a neat bun. Her eyes, calm but strong, looked around like she was ready for anything. Finally, the door opened. A tall woman with sharp eyes and cold lips looked her up and down. "You're the new nanny?" the woman asked. "You're early." "Yes, ma'am," Miss Joy said. "I believe it's better to be early when there's a child involved." The woman didn't smile. "I'm Rachel, Mr. Carter's sister-in-law. Follow me." Miss Joy walked into the house. The floors were so shiny she could see her reflection. Everything looked expensive, but it also felt empty, like no one laughed there. Rachel led her through long halls until they reached a quiet room. Inside was a boy, maybe 7 or 8, sitting in a wheelchair. His head was tilted and his hands rested in his lap. He didn't speak. He didn't move. "That's Liam," Rachel said quickly. "He can't talk or walk. He barely responds to anything. Mr. Carter works all the time. I handle things here." Miss Joy slowly walked to Liam. She kneeled down so they were eye to eye. "Hello, Liam," she whispered. "My name is Miss Joy. I came here just for you." Liam didn't blink. Rachel crossed her arms. "Don't waste your energy. He won't answer." Miss Joy didn't listen. She smiled gently and pulled a tiny music box from her bag. She turned the crank and soft music filled the room. Liam's eyes moved. Only for a second, but they moved. Rachel frowned. "I'll leave you to it. But don't try anything weird." When the door closed, Miss Joy sat beside Liam. She didn't speak. She just hummed along with the music, swaying gently. Her presence was calm, like the warm sun on a cold day. For a whole week, Miss Joy kept coming to Liam's room. She sang to him, read stories, brought colorful puzzles, and used toys that lit up when touched. Rachel kept watching, whispering to the maids, shaking her head. "Why do you care so much?" one maid asked Miss Joy in the kitchen. Miss Joy smiled as she washed Liam's favorite cup. "Because I see something in his eyes. A storm waiting to become a rainbow." One night, Mr. Carter finally came home early. He was a tall man with tired eyes and a phone always in his hand. He nodded at Miss Joy but barely spoke. "How is he?" he asked, glancing into Liam's room. Miss Joy stood tall. "He's waking up inside, sir." Slowly, Mr. Carter sighed. "They said nothing can be done. The doctors gave up." "Then I won't," she said simply. He stared at her for a moment, unsure what to say. The next morning, something strange happened. As Miss Joy played soft drums near Liam, his right hand twitched. It was small, barely a movement, but it was real. Miss Joy gasped. "Liam, was that you?" Liam blinked slowly. His lips moved like they were trying to remember how to form words. She clapped gently and whispered, "You're doing great." Rachel burst into the room. "What's going on?" "He moved," Miss Joy said, eyes shining. Rachel laughed coldly. "It was probably a muscle spasm. Don't get your hopes up." Miss Joy said nothing, but inside she felt something powerful. Liam was trying. He was reaching out even if just a little. Later that day, Rachel cornered Mr. Carter in his office. "This nanny is filling your head with false hope," she snapped. "She's using weird tricks and giving you illusions." "She's helping him," Mr. Carter said quietly. "You don't know that," Rachel hissed. "You barely even see your son." Those words hit him hard. He looked away. That night, Miss Joy sat beside Liam and whispered stories about stars and lions and brave children who couldn't speak but could roar in other ways. Liam stared at her face like he was trying to remember something forgotten long ago. Suddenly, a tear rolled down his cheek. Miss Joy leaned closer. "Liam, are you feeling something?" He blinked again. Another tear. Miss Joy looked toward the door, but she didn't call anyone. She just gently wiped his cheek and said, "You don't have to speak yet. I hear you." Outside the room, hidden in the shadows, Mr. Carter had seen the whole thing. His eyes widened. Something stirred deep inside him, a feeling he hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Mr. Carter stood in the hallway for a long time after seeing his son cry. He had never seen Liam shed a tear before. Not even at the hospital. Not even after his mother passed away. Liam had always been silent, still, like a boy locked inside a shell. But now something had changed. The next morning, Mr. Carter sat at the breakfast table for once. Liam was already up. Miss Joy had dressed him in a bright green sweater and brushed his curly hair neatly. She placed Liam's spoon in his hand. "Would you like to try today?" she asked him. Liam didn't move at first. But then, slowly, his fingers tightened around the spoon. Mr. Carter's mouth opened in shock. "He's holding it," he said. Miss Joy smiled. Yes. We're building little muscles and bigger courage. Rachel walked in just then and froze. Her eyes narrowed as she watched Liam grip the spoon. This is nonsense, she said sharply. What are you teaching him? Witchcraft. Mr. Carter stood up. Enough, Rachel. She looked surprised. Excuse me? I said enough, he repeated. You've always acted like Liam is broken. But he's not. He just needed the right person. Rachel's face turned red, but she said nothing. She stormed out of the room. Later that day, while Miss Joy took Liam outside for some fresh air, Rachel sneaked into Mr. Carter's private office. She opened a drawer and pulled out a thick folder labeled Liam Medical Records. Her hands shook as she flipped through the papers. Taped to one page was a letter with a strange signature and a stamp that said treatment denied. Rachel's eyes darted left and right. She quickly slipped the letter into her coat pocket, locked the drawer again, and walked away like nothing had happened. Meanwhile, outside, Liam sat in the garden with Miss Joy beside him. The wind danced through the trees. Miss Joy held up colored flashcards. Red, blue, yellow. Can you blink once for red? She asked softly. Liam stared at the red card. He blinked. Miss Joy smiled so wide it looked like sunshine. From the upstairs window, Mr. Carter watched everything. He rubbed his eyes. Is that really my son? He whispered. That night, Mr. Carter called Miss Joy to his study. She sat on the edge of the chair, calm as always. How are you doing this? He asked. I'm not doing anything magical, she said gently. I'm just giving him time, love, and a chance. That's something he never had before. But the doctors don't know everything, she said. Liam has been trapped. Not just in his body, but in this house. He needs freedom. Mr. Carter looked down. I should have seen it. I should have been there. Miss Joy placed her hand on the table. It's not too late. Suddenly, the door burst open. Rachel stormed in, holding the paper she had stolen. She's not who she says she is, Rachel shouted, waving the letter in the air. Mr. Carter stood up. What are you talking about? She's been manipulating you, making you believe things that aren't true. She has no proof, no degree. Look, she threw the letter on the table. Miss Joy calmly picked it up and read it. Then she laughed quietly. That's not my name on this letter, she said, placing it back. You forged it, didn't you? Rachel's face froze. Mr. Carter looked between them. What is going on? Miss Joy stood. Let me explain. She reached into her bag and pulled out her real documents, degrees, photos, awards. She laid them on the table like cards in a magic trick. I studied cognitive neuroscience and special education. I worked with children who were forgotten, just like Liam. Mr. Carter looked at the papers. His eyes grew wide. Rachel tried to snatch them, but he blocked her. You lied? He asked her. Rachel's hands trembled. I was just trying to protect him. No, Miss Joy said. You were trying to control him. You didn't want anyone to see how badly he'd been treated. Liam's wheelchair rolled slowly into the room. All three turned to look. He opened his mouth. At first, only a whisper came out. But then, clear and quiet, Liam said, "Daddy." Mr. Carter fell to his knees. Tears ran down his face. Liam. Liam reached out with his shaky hand. Mr. Carter grabbed it and held it tight. I'm here. I'm right here. Rachel backed away. That's not possible, he couldn't. He can, Miss Joy said. He always could. You just didn't want him to. Mr. Carter looked at Rachel. You're no longer welcome in this house. She opened her mouth to speak, but then turned and ran out. Miss Joy turned to Liam. You did it, sweetheart. Liam looked at her and smiled. Just a little, but it was enough to light up the whole room. The next day, the whole mansion felt different. Warmer, brighter, like the house had finally opened its eyes after sleeping for a long time. Liam sat near the window, watching birds flap their wings. His hands still shook a little, but now they moved with purpose. Miss Joy sat beside him, gently guiding his fingers over soft clay. They were making shapes, suns, stars, and lions with big manes. Can you say sun? Miss Joy asked kindly. Liam opened his mouth. Sue, sun. Miss Joy's heart jumped. Yes, that's it. Sun. Outside the door, Mr. Carter stood quietly watching. His face was soft and peaceful, his eyes glowing with something rare, pride. Later that afternoon, Mr. Carter invited Miss Joy into his office again. This time, the room was filled with boxes, files, dusty folders, and papers Rachel had hidden. Mr. Carter had been digging deep, looking for the truth. "I found forged documents," he said. "Rachel blocked Liam's treatment for years. She told the doctors we refused therapy." Miss Joy frowned. "That's why no one came to help. She made it all look like my choice," he said sadly. "While I worked, she kept him locked in silence." Miss Joy placed her hand on his. "Now we give Liam his voice back, and we make sure no other child is left like that again." Mr. Carter nodded. "I want to build a center. A real one. For kids like Liam. With your name on it." Miss Joy shook her head. "No. Name it after him. Let the world know his story." And so, 2 months later, the Liam Carter Center for Children with Special Needs opened its doors. There were bright murals on the walls, soft music in the halls, and toys in every room. Children came in wheelchairs, on crutches, or with quiet eyes, and they left smiling. Miss Joy was the head of it all. People who once doubted her now stood in line to learn from her. Newspapers called her the woman who spoke to silence. Liam sat in the front row on opening day. He wore a little blue suit and shiny black shoes. He even held a tiny microphone. Miss Joy bent down. "Do you want to say something, sweetheart?" Liam nodded. Slowly, he brought the microphone to his mouth. He said, "Thank you, Miss Joy." Everyone clapped. Some cried. Mr. Carter wiped his eyes with a handkerchief. That night, after the celebration, Mr. Carter and Miss Joy sat under the stars. Liam was asleep upstairs, hugging his lion toy. "I never knew one person could change everything," Mr. Carter said quietly. Miss Joy looked up at the sky. "Sometimes the right person walks in when no one else dares to." He turned to her. "You didn't just save my son. You saved me too." She smiled. "He saved himself. I just helped open the door." Mr. Carter reached into his pocket. His hands shook just a little. He pulled out a small velvet box. Miss Joy's eyes widened. "What's that?" He opened it. Inside was a simple gold ring with a tiny star on it. "You brought light into this house, into Liam's life, into mine," he said. "Joy, will you stay with us, not just as Liam's nanny, but as his mother?" Miss Joy covered her mouth. Her eyes filled with tears. "Yes," she whispered. 1,000 times yes. They hugged under the stars, wrapped in peace, hope, and the sound of the night breeze. From the window upstairs, Liam peeked out. He saw them and smiled. The boy who had once lived in silence was now surrounded by love. Real, powerful, and forever. And somewhere deep in his heart, he whispered a promise to never stop shining. Moral of the story. No one is too broken to be loved, and no voice is too quiet to be heard. With love, patience, and the courage to stand up for what's right, even the most silent hearts can find their song. True family is not just made by blood, it's made by kindness, trust, and the people who choose to stay. Thank you for reading. Millionaire employed a black nanny for his disabled son. He was shocked by what he saw. This story was written with heart, imagination, and the hope of inspiring young minds to believe in the power of love, justice, and the strength that lives inside every person, no matter their challenges. Keep dreaming, keep caring, and never stop standing up for what's right.